Peace and blessings to everybody, and welcome to Storytime. For those of you all joining me for the first time, and those of you all joining again, not for your first time, my name is Miss Bernise, and I do Storytime to help to engage, inspire, and empower people with literacy. So, today's Storytime, I have decided to share a story that I wrote called The Incident. And I decided to do it, one, because I did not have time to go by the library. And I enjoy this story. So I was I was reflecting before story time started on how, I started doing story time for a particular reason, which was to help engage people with literacy because the rates of illiteracy are really high. And a lot of times that happens because many people have not had good experiences with reading and literacy. So my hope is to read a story, to help others to enjoy books and stories, hoping that they will discover something that they love about literacy. Hopefully, they'll have so much fun that it'll encourage them to stop and enjoy a good book. Thank you for joining my story time. Hopefully, it will inspire them to take a pause, enjoy a story, whether it be a physical book, an audio book, um, something that will bring you joy, like stories bring me joy. And Storytime has also given me a chance to not only share wonderful stories that I discover and enjoy, but I also write. And I wrote this story, I don't remember when, but it hasn't been a year yet. I read it for a couple of students during story times that I've had with a few schools. But I think this will be my first time reading it live, so I hope you enjoy it. Um, it's a funny story. Everybody has things that happen to them in life when they're left at home. This is kind of one of my, not really a home alone story, but well, you'll hear what happened. I hope you enjoy the story. Uh, Pardon me, if you see me looking back and forth, I am streaming live on YouTube and Instagram. So please do me a favor, share this live or the replay out to at least five of your friends and help me spread the joy of literacy. Hopefully, we will get more people reading and engage with books, and maybe it'll inspire somebody else to write their own story. It could be about anything that you want. So, I wrote this story a while ago, and I'm going to read it because I don't want to forget my own words. I'm a little nervous, but excited at the same time. I hope you enjoy. The name of this story is called The Incident. Everybody was hungry. It wasn't the first time we found ourselves searching the kitchen for food. Since I was the most agile of my siblings, I assumed my post as cabinet inspector and hopped up on the kitchen counter to check every cabinet. I could even reach the ones above the refrigerator. Meanwhile, my siblings took turns peering into the refrigerator as if something new would magically appear if they closed the door and then opened it again. "Did you find anything?" my brother asked. "I found some white sugar," I replied. There always seemed to be a bag of white sugar in the cabinet. That sugar saved us from complete hunger on so many days, and usually went perfectly with whatever else we would normally find to eat on days like this. We had had sugar with milk, sugar with dried cornflakes, and sugar with the Ovaltine that we would sometimes find in a jar in the cabinet next to it. Today, there was no Ovaltine or dry cereal, but there was bread in the refrigerator, so my brother decided he would make us something to eat. I don't remember how old we were at the time, but I do remember that we certainly weren't old enough to be using the stove. However, unbeknownst to our parents, we had used it in the past, but not for anything too complicated though. There was another time that we had had sugar and bread at the same time, so my brother and I made gourmet sugar sandwiches. How, you ask? Well, let me explain. Maybe it's because we had seen sugar melt when my mom used it to make homemade candy out of different seeds, nuts, toasted coconut, and even ginger. I remember watching very intensely as the white crystals vanished and transformed into the most beautiful brown liquid that I had ever seen or tasted. So that day, when there was bread and sugar, I spread a thin layer of the sugar on a few slices of bread, placed them on the top rack of the oven, turned the oven setting on broil, and watched the white crystals melt into that beautiful brown that I enjoyed so much. I remember my brother and I watching the bread through the part of the oven that lets you see what was inside. We made sure the light was on so we would know when the sandwiches were ready. Yes, even though they were single sliced sandwiches, we were still proud to announce to everyone that their gourmet sandwiches were done. I suppose the success of that day made my brother feel confident enough to attempt to make something on top of the stove. He wasn't making our famous gourmet sugar sandwiches because when I told him we had sugar, he said, "Nah, I'm going to make something else." I'm not sure if I remembered seeing bologna or sliced cheese that day, but regardless of whatever it was, we never got to eat the sandwiches because of what happened next. I'd walked out of the kitchen for only a few moments to go get something and came back to a very frantic brother and a pan on fire on top of the stove. He was panicking, and smoke had already started to put a layer of ash on the tiled kitchen ceiling and the kitchen cabinets. Thank goodness I had learned about fire safety only a few days prior at my school because we didn't have a fire extinguisher in the house, but we did have salt. Science is one of my favorite subjects, so I was really amazed to learn that salt could be used to put out a fire because it would not melt like sugar would. And because of my experience as cabinet inspector, I knew exactly where the salt was. While attempting to reach around and turn off the stove, I threw as much salt at and into the pan as I could until the fire was out. While I was battling the fire on the stove, my brother and sisters quickly opened the windows and doors so the smoke wouldn't stay in the house. The fire never got a chance to reach anything else past the pan, but there was soot and ash all over the kitchen, and boy, did the house smell like smoke. Everyone was relieved that the fire was out. No one got hurt, and our house didn't burn down, but we were now more afraid about what would happen if my father came home in the middle of the day, like he sometimes did. My dad was a taxi driver, so he could stop by any time he wanted to, and did so every once in a while when we were least expecting that he would. So we were scared. So scared, in fact, that we knew we had to work together to clean up the mess or there would be trouble. And the fact that we loved our brother too much and didn't even want to imagine what would happen if we didn't help him clean up. So we started cleaning everything, absolutely everything. Prior to the incident, I never thought that knowing how to do chores would save our lives, but it certainly did on that day. We cleaned every nook and cranny of the entire house, and each of us took turns going outside, then coming back in to check if the smell of smoke was actually gone. And we made sure to put everything back even better and cleaner than before the fire. Almost as soon as we were done conducting our inspections, my dad came home. And boy, were we relieved when the only thing he mentioned was what a great job we had done cleaning up the house. I don't remember if we had thrown the burnt pen into the trash or somewhere in the backyard. But I do know this: we all gained a mutual respect and admiration for each other on that day. And we didn't touch the stove again for a very, very long time. And that is the end of my story. Oh my gosh. So, this was actually a story based on actual events. And the moral of the story is children, if you're watching this, make sure that you get permission from your parents and help if you want to make something on the stove. And cooperation is the better way to go if anything happens to go wrong. Because, I mean, if we didn't stop and help each other out, it would have caused a much bigger problem than what actually happened. So, we learned about cooperation, we learned about the value of chores and knowing how to clean up after ourselves because it did save us. And thank goodness for fire safety. I don't know, I know they still do fire drills in school, but we had a whole fire safety day um, at our school where we learned about how to put out a fire in case of anything. And thank goodness for that. Otherwise, who knows? Could have been a different outcome. So I hope you enjoyed the story. I hope that this story time encourages you to write a story if you've been thinking about it. You can make a story about anything that you like. Write about true events. You can even make something up. Make it fun. It could be serious. It could be something that informs. Stories benefit us for so many reasons. And I encourage those of you all who are already writing stories to please, please keep writing. We need your stories. We enjoy your stories. We love your stories and appreciate them. For those of you all thinking about it, write a sentence a day. Add a word a day to the story that you have already in that mind of yours so that we can enjoy it whenever it's done. And please put it out there because we want to read your stories, okay? Well, oh, one more thing that I want to mention. So, on the link in my bio, if you click it, it will take you to my link tree. And at the top of the link tree, I have a free ebook that I created for those of you all who are wanting to know how to make a better reader. Whether you are just starting out with helping a little one to learn how to read, or if you have someone that you are teaching how to read and need some tips, maybe they're struggling with reading. The ebook is free and it shares some tips on making a better reader. I hope that it helps, and I appreciate any feedback. Please remember to like this live, like this post. Please remember to share it to your friends. Please follow me on my channels. I am here every Tuesday and Thursday for story time at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Somebody asked me if I could do it every day. I still haven't managed to do that yet, but I'm trying. But every Tuesday and Thursday, I am here. Unless I make an announcement that something changes, I will be here. So please join me every week for story time. Tell a friend, share the stories, like my posts, please share them. I would greatly appreciate it. Click the link in my bio to get that free ebook of Making Better Readers. And I hope that this story time has inspired you. I hope that this story time has empowered you with literacy. And until the next time, I'll see you again. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.